Alright, so we chunked our door on just now so we could check fitment, and a couple of issues which we kind of expect. Let me explain. So when we had this door on originally to that fender, I fitted it to that fender. Of course our fenders were damaged. If you remember, they were tweaked, but we went off of what we could to get a rough lineup, and we do have a good rough lineup. So the height on the body line and everything, and I didn't touch the hinges on the body, if you recall in that video explaining why. But I was always a little uncomfortable with how tight it was here, and it is a little tight, which the door is slightly open, but we went over this in the other video about how tight that was. But when you go to open this one, your door sweeps into it, okay? I don't know if you can really see that on the camera. There you go. You can kind of see how it closes up. So when you open this back door, it kind of sweeps forward before it clears the back of that. You can cheat out the edge of this a little to help with that clearance if you're running into an issue like this where some stuff is tweaked, but that's not what we want. We want to kind of rotate the door like this to get the equal gap here. And I know we can do that. If we rotate the door like that, that brings this body line right here up. And if you look at that body line, it's close to being dead on. It can stay like that and be perfectly fine, but you can see I think you can see in the camera that we could definitely afford to go up a 16th. If we went up a 16th there, we'd have a 16th or so there and we'd be golden. So that's all we need is like a little 16th right there. And this gap right here is actually pretty big. So you can see my pinky almost goes in there. It's a pretty big gap. So the door could afford to go this way some. The problem with now is that we created a lot of these edges up here, okay? So I've got plenty of room all right here, but it does get a little tight right in here. Okay, and this door really probably needs to be bent out some actually. So we can't hardly go forward too much. So what I think we need to do is we need to just get this side up, you know, maybe a 16th, which is gonna be easier said than done because the fenders are on it now. And we can't get to the hinges to make adjustments because the other fenders we cut. So you'd have to take the fender off to make adjustment, but then you don't have the fender on to line your body lines up, and you can't get to the bolts from the inside because of the way the brackets come out at an L shape like this. I'll open it here in a second and show you. Can't open it right this second till I fix something because this is flared out. And we knew that, we talked about that. I bought this door damaged. We've already discussed this. This is not a surprise. I just couldn't fix that until I put the fender on. If I would have just painted this, then that's what you would have been left with. So this door is flared out. We've also discussed this on the channel because when the parts vehicle that this thing was on was hit in the front, that fender come back and somebody opened their door and messed the door edge up. We've discussed this. So what we're gonna do is take our sledgehammer, our little steel piece of scrap steel that I keep around on the frame rack, and we're gonna put it on here, and we're just gonna beat this edge until this edge is flush with our fenders to make all of that line up. And the bottom's also flared out, which could be from shipping or it could be our fender. If you look at the door edge, either way, that's easy. We just take a hammer and knock that edge in. But we got to take care of that edge so we can open the door and then figure out how we're gonna make these adjustments, because you can't go through the inside of the fender because everything's in your way. So these doors suck when you start having to do hinge adjustments. They're really a pain in the butt. If you look in here on your hinges, these are obviously where your hinge bolts to your door, but then your bolts where the actual hinge bolts are back there on that side. You can barely see that one back there, so you can't get a wrench right here on it. I don't know how GM intends for you to move these hinges or adjust them. I guess they don't. I guess they set them where they want them to be at from the factory and then move forward. What they probably do is they probably set the door, align it up off the top in this and get all that line, then move forward and set the fender to the door. That's probably what they do, is they probably work their way backwards, forwards. But in the collision industry, you can't always do that. Sometimes you got something here, and you got to put the two together and get the center to work right. So Stuff's tweaked, bent, all of that. So tons of clearance up here on this one now. Got that back. You can see I beat that all up. Got that back pretty decent. It's still out just a touch. Camera might be hard to see, but I'm gonna admit it that it's probably a driver's license, if a half a driver's license. So it's not terrible. And I hit on that a couple times. I haven't got that corner all the way in. I'm almost thinking that my fender needs to come out. Probably needs to be twisted, pivoted, because there's only one bolt right here in the bottom of your fender. So your fender technically can twist like this. So what I might do is loosen it and have Eddie pry this side of this fender out while I tighten it back up. I think I actually haven't even tightened that bolt. So now I just got to figure out how to get this door forward, because we definitely don't want to go backwards, because our door gap was on point there with no issues. So yeah, before anybody comments, yes, on some hinges you can get with the door open, but on this one you cannot get them. They are right there. So you're looking at that one down there, so can't get that. What I've ended up doing is pulling the door back off real fast, and I just loosened these where they didn't come all the way loose, but they are, you know, about to break loose. And then I took my ratchet, and you can see the paint chips, and I literally just smacked the hinge so that I could physically watch it move, and I moved it forward like maybe a 16th, just the bottom hinge, so we could open up the gap on that bottom. And we're gonna rehang the door on here real fast to see if we got what we want. Next time I might try, if this is your door open, obviously this is your thing, so I might try to see if I can somehow snake the ratchet in there and loosen it. It's pretty easy to take it off too when you're a fitment like this. I don't know, it's just a bear. These suck doing it. Now on the front door to the back door, we have excellent clearance. So just pushing that bottom hinge a 16th forward, and then I'm gonna open it now. Let's do it right here at the body line, so you can see that we clear the door. We don't get near it. So we've got our clearance now on that one. The only issue I have now is that this door, which is more of a filling thing, but if you watch it, okay, you see how the body line right here is that low? That's because the door right now is lower than your striker. So now our new issue is that our striker, being we cheated that way, that has pulled our striker down, or that has pulled our door down where it doesn't hit our striker right. So the door actually, as I push it, you'll see it pulls it up. So you can't feel it obviously because this is video, but I don't know if you can see this jump up. Let me see if I can capture this. You can even look up here at this one to the chrome trim, and it brings it up, but you can feel it physically dragging on the striker. So technically, to get that right, your bottom hinge would need to go that way, so that when it opens, it doesn't do this fall down thing. Your body line will be right, but then the only issue with that is then it closes that gap back up. So this is where it takes, just like with the race car, where you just have to get out there and literally just keep messing with it. I can't film all of this because sometimes they go fast and you get it right, and other times it takes a ton of adjustments, and it takes a decent amount of time to find a happy medium of everything. I mean, you got two hinges in the front, you got striker, you know, at the door handle, and then you got all the gaps, three sides that you got to get the gaps right on this. So it's a combination of just figuring out what makes all of them happy. That way it looks decent. It's raining here. I don't know if you hear thunder in the background. So I'm gonna keep getting at it. Let's go. All right, so I think we're gonna roll with that. I think it's a little low. You can see the body line is a little lower than that one. I don't know. I might mess with it a little bit more. I got to see how bad it looks when the chrome trim's on here. It probably is going to need to be messed with a little more, but it might be one of them things probably that I'll mess with at the house. Because I'm going to take this thing home and get it in my garage so that I can do all these adjustments and put everything together. Me and Ed just did this down here, so we're good now. You can see the fender to the door. What I did was he put a big flathead in here and pried it that way, while I tightened the bolt up on the bottom really tight. So that's all it needed to do, is that fender needed to be kind of walked out. Because remember, these things were damaged, they're aftermarket, so you're gonna have to do some tweaking, just like when we finally get the hood, we're gonna have to do some tweaking up here. So we can move forward Monday. Probably body work in this door right here, and body working the fender. We'll probably actually body work the fenders first, get them through primer and get them painted, because we're gonna paint them on the vehicle. We're not gonna take them back off. And we'll probably paint the fenders with no doors on. That way we can just back tape all the way around the fender. We're finally sitting where I'm pretty stoked to be. We're getting here together, guys. I feel like the thing needs a leveling kit on the front, but that's gonna be a wrap for today. I'll catch back up with y'all next week on this thing. Well, we got the Tahoe loaded up. Let's hope the nothing falls out of the passenger side, because it ain't got no door on it. We got the center console sitting right there near the edge, but I think it'll be good to get it home. So we're gonna get this thing home and try to get some stuff done on it and some of the interior put back together and cleaned up. All right, welcome back to the channel. As you can see, we've got a little bit of a change in the garage. Let's plug in this light. We got the Tahoe here at the house. It actually fits better than I thought it would, honestly. So, got a little bit of room back here. The height that went in was just fine. I just felt like it wasn't gonna fit. Honestly, I really did not think it was gonna fit this decent. And it got some room to walk around up front. So I'm gonna try to get this thing under control. I'm nowhere near done. I'm nowhere near complete. Basically, I'm just gonna try to gather my thoughts and get everything back together. So what happens with these big projects, if you're not familiar, if you're new to the channel, whatever the case may be, this project that we took on with this Tahoe was a humongous monster project. And when you have these big projects like this, what happens is on night one, when you're working on it, you take one item apart. Then and a few minutes later, the next night, another item, then another item, then another item. And then what you end up with is this crap right here. What you end up with is a whole freaking Tahoe tore apart, headliners, center console's out of it. I mean, look, center console's where the passenger seat goes. Dust everywhere. Look at the dash. Dash tore apart, dust. I mean, this thing is freaking disgusting. It is tore all to crap apart. It is bad, real bad. So, everything's had to be taken apart though in order to work on different things. It's like 100 and some degrees here during the day with the heat index. So we've got the mini split over here in the garage, AC. So I said, you know what? The Comet, Percy Flowers, she's getting wired. Actually, we can't even say she because it's a he. Percy is a he. Man, we can't even call it old girl. We can't say she. We're stuck now with riding with a dude. It is what it is, I guess. So old Percy's getting wired. Chris Moore is doing the wiring on it, and I'm not sure when I'm gonna get it back. He said 2 weeks. So today is Monday. Next Monday, after this weekend, will be exactly 2 weeks. I don't even want the thing back. So I want to get this thing done, and so I can get this thing out of my life. But yeah, what I plan to do is go through here and not sweat my butt off and be able to take my time. We got to load the airbags in. Then we got seat belts to load in. We need to get the headliner back up, side pieces back up that hold the headliner, all of the grab handles in, all the pillar trims in, everything put back in this thing, door sills, whole 9 yards. And then we still are going to have to get doors put on this. One door's painted, passenger door. I need to bring it home so we can test fit it, make sure it lines up good. And if anything needs to be beat on or adjusted, we're going to have to hammer on it here in the garage. This door comes back off and needs to go to the shop and get body work. I just left it on to transport it home. We got to do something about these pillar trims. I got to see how, no, that is the one off this door. I was thinking something different. So you can see how shiny this one is and how wore out this one is. So I might order somebody suggested some carbon fiber vinyl. You know, we might do that. I don't know. But we have a ton of small stuff to do. I don't have all the door handles. I mean, I just got nightmares. So I'm just trying to gain my, gain a little bit of traction here because I'm about $10,000 out on this thing right now already, and I'm not done. And then we're gonna do wet sanding and buffing here and everything in the AC instead of at the house, or instead of at the shop in 100-degree weather. So let me dive in here. There's not gonna be a lot to film. It's just gonna kind of be more of like a progression video. I mean, I don't think y'all want to see how to load modules in and how to put seat belts in It's basically reverse of what I already showed you. I showed you how to take the stuff out. But let's get at it. Let's get this thing unloaded and start trying to figure out where everything goes, what's missing, what's damaged, what needs to be painted, what needs to be touched up, all of it. Let's get at it.